So, I'm building this mouse. Figured it'd be pretty nice to have, finish up the collection with that stuff. Well, it was pretty simple for part of that thing. Step one was just this, was step one, and then step two was to build these 12. Did I say step two? I meant 2-1. I need to build 12 of these fucking things. Screw you, German engineering. For those that don't know the process of modeling, you end up clipping these out with something like this, shaving them down to be the right shape. So you gotta take this kind of thing, sand it down to get all the detailing work onto there. We have little emery boards for that. Then you glue it together, and then you're able to just kind of take it as a piece of something that then will work for 1/6 of this entire assembly. Why couldn't you have just used torsion bars for this 188-ton monster? This is awful. Why are there so many issues with this thing? I have to do this for like 12 of these things and then another few hundred parts. This is why everyone hates making suspension. There's something to be said for the merits of a diorama that doesn't require you to sand down 24 tiny-ass pieces just to make sure they all fit. And by that I mean, whenever things are blown up, they're really easy to make. There are some exceptions to that rule, but you can hide your mistakes better. So it turns out I completely misread how many I needed. I need to make another fucking 12. This is all I'm gonna bother with the first day. This is still just for the suspension. I'm having to like file all these down to make sure that they're nice and smooth. Yep. Alright, that's finally all these things assembled. So, progress. Everything for step two. The problems with doing this on a gray carpet. If you drop one, it's hard to find. So interestingly, it seems like these don't need to be glued in place with the type of bolt that this has. Because that holds itself just fine. So depending on how the tracks in this thing are assembled, I might be able to make it so this mouse can actually move around of its own free power, which would be impressive. I only need to make a bunch more of these and then bolt them in place with actual bolts, and the actual bolts are some really tiny, and I mean really tiny things. But I'll get to that when I get to it. There we go. 1/2 of one piece of the suspension. These are going to be mounted on these, like, well, let me mounted like so, and then there will be another one right here. And that is an interesting piece of suspension for this thing, but I guess when you're dealing with 188 tons of material, interesting is kind of your default. By the way, these are the pins that are going in there. It's going into the little slots for that. Sorry, the lighting is awful here. And yeah, that will be one of the 24 of these that will become part of the actual tank. So yeah, detail. This is just really interesting to kind of see how much play and movement you can get from the pivot of these things, because this spring right here, this one right at the corner, that doesn't compress in this, but it does kind of open a little bit. So if you were to add a little bit, you can see how much play this kind of this suspension gives this thing. I'm actually really impressed. This is a neat piece of engineering. First batch of the first half of the suspension done. Stuff takes a while. Alright, that is the next batch done. I should be able to finish this entire suspension thing by just connecting these to that with yet another piece of these really tiny bit nails. So that'll be fun. So the unthinkable did happen with one of those little bolts. I dropped it. And thankfully, Wait, where was it again? Ah, I found it. Oh my god, it's so hard to see. So the first of these entire assemblies is done, and this is a lot of parts to build one of these. I've got a lot to go. Alright, we have the suspension done. I just need to mount this on the mouse and we'll see where things go from there. Alright, so I'm able to start actually anchoring these things onto the hull. So yeah, that'll be nice when that's done. It's a bit of a pain in the ass to anchor them because I need to just fit them in little slots and hold them there until they're done. But yeah, I only have a dozen, so. Alright, I've got them all mounted to the bottom now, so you can kind of see some of how that's going to be. I just need to add a few more details, and I'm going to let all this glue set overnight. So, like an idiot, I was adding details, and I glued the drive sprocket on in full, whereas everything else, flowing smoothly. So much for this actually being able to rotate, unless I want to tear this drive sprocket out and try and fix it. Unfortunately, there's no way to mount it. That won't actually, a second. Yeah, I'm just gonna, hang on. I fucked up. Well, I'll have to fix that. Okay, so yeah, I can't fix that without cutting it, so I'll just cry. Whatever. Fuck. I've decided that, I'm not asking. I'm gonna take this thing off and fix it. And it might look slightly awful, but this will be hidden by these side skirts because this is a mouse. So because I interrupted this, you can actually see where the plastic was starting to melt together. So I'm gonna need to wait until tomorrow morning and clean that up. And I also, like a dumbass, managed to break my blade in there. So I'm gonna need to get that off and replace that. So, fun. I gotta say, even with all the effort and pain that's gone into this thing, it's pretty great. Alright, well, I have the side skirts done for this thing. I just need to build the tracks for it. And I didn't find out that these little bits on the side did not cure straight, so that's going to be fun to fix. So, yep. So I started this before I documented the full thing. It's like I'm starting to work on the treads, and it is a lot of treads for this fucking thing. I need to get the treads up and ready on this before I can mount these sides, and I apparently did one of these too quickly, because they didn't anticipate me wanting to mount both of them at once, which I find a bit odd. But whatever, it's progress. So all of this is for one track length, so let's see if I can just... Alright, so... I did the whole snap thing to pretend that worked, but Jesus Christ, I wish that was that fast. That took a while. These tracks are actually really clever. They're in a 3-part system where you end up linking... Second, allow me to carefully sit this here. You'll have to link that to the other side for this one, so this is not something that one is supposed to do easily. These tracks have to go on for something, but yeah. You link it like there, and then slide it around that. Oh my god, that took forever. And that's only one of them, because each of these tracks has 165 parts. It's actually rather satisfying and therapeutic to make, but it took a while. Right, so I'm getting ready to try and put it on the bottom of this thing, and I just realized that I didn't show that these things articulate fully. Like, it's very clever how they were designed. So they look really sweet. I'm actually really happy about that. I have no fucking clue how I'm going to paint these things when they're on, because I want this thing to be able to move. I might have to paint the tracks first in a 3-part system, and then... I don't even know. It's going to be a pain in the ass. But yeah. Also, the little hinges that attach to these things. Yeah, it turns out those bars, the ones that stick up here, yeah, they didn't dry straight. Because, as you can see from this, that should smoothly sit on there, and those are not aligned, which is going to be an issue. Alright, so I've gotten the first track on. This was a pain in the ass, and it will all now be covered up by a piece of metal. So, because, where is it? This, I think, nope, wrong one. Is the world ready for war here in... Because this needs to get mounted on there. So, that's next. Alright, I got that piece attached. So, that's a quarter of it done. And probably more like half the actual work. This thing is a box, so it is not that hard to make when it comes to the actual upper components. Track's not tensioned, but unfortunately I can't pull a chieftain and fix that. This is just to make sure that I've gotten it clear where I am ending the day at for day 4 of working on this fucking thing. It's getting big. Well, I ended up taking a day off, and now I'm back, and this is another track. These have all been sanded and filed, these have all been sanded and filed, these can go fuck themselves because they won't be seen. They're the pieces that are the underside of that, so... yeah, that'll be a lot easier to handle. And now to take these 165 parts and assemble them. Yep. Alright, so these things are actually really clever when it comes to making the tracks. And I didn't show that with the last time, but it uses these 3 components. One second, let me make sure this one will. Okay, good. But it uses these 3 components where it's really clever. So you have this. This one slides in right there. 1 second, you put some glue on one of these. And then it's the upper half of this part right there. You can see it right there. Secure that into place. Let it set for a minute. And it gives you this nice track that articulates, which is really fucking cool. I just need to do another 46 times. Yeah, I just need to do that another 46 times. These things end up being like 3 feet long. Alright, I'm just adding the second one on here, and it's just really neat to get to this point where you're actually able to get things bonded together. The only issue that I have is with the way this thing is designed. I also need to get this on there to fit them all together, and that includes getting all of these matched up with little knots on the bottom, and these did not dry straight, unfortunately. So that'll be fun. Alright, there we go. That is a chassis. Yeah. I just need to start adding the other chunks to this, and really the rest of this should go real quick, because the tracks were the majority of the individual parts for things. So I almost missed saying it, but I'm adding these little photo etched, I believe the term is, little pieces to this. Yep. Getting them fetched in, and I am happily ruining this blade in the process of cutting them out, because, yeah, it's already on its last legs. So. Alright, I've got the metal bits on. These always take forever and never seem to dry right for me. So I actually kind of cheated a little bit, and with these, you can see they don't sit flat anymore. I kind of forced them into this spot so I have tension and the glue holding them, and that should allow them to actually stay together, because those are really fucking tiny. And you're not going to notice the ever so slight bend amongst everything under the paint job if I've done it right from a serious distance away. So I cheated. Oh well. Alright, so I have the top done, and with the sides, I just gotta start attaching these. Yeah. Alright, that's the top part attached. Some nasty seams and the like that I don't quite have the know-how to fix at the moment, but will probably be unnoticeable with the paint. It's almost together. And that is the major chunks of the hull done. I need to add the detailing down here, but after that it's onto the turret. Well, I was working on these little pieces here, which will be attached to the front over there. Like that, I'll be sealing that little gap up in the middle there. But it relies on these little things. Really little tiny pieces. And 2 of them fell over the edge. And I think these are going to be the pieces that I'm not going to be able to get back. I think those are a lost cause. Like, yeah. Those things are so small, I almost could have inhaled them. So, oh well. Well, I was hoping to finish tonight, but I have the hull done mostly, and most of the details. This took way too long. Alright, I've got the baseline of the turret done. I didn't realize this didn't have a top. I think I'm going to need to get a 3D printed one for that. Alright, that is all the detailing on this thing done. Second, there we go. Trying to slot this on, but it is not wanting to. Well, I'll need to file those down and make them actually fit. Alright, that is the turret on, and it turns out the ring isn't the right size. That required a little bit of forcing and filing, but hey, it's there. Alright, that's the ladder done, that's the detailing on that done. I just need to add the barrel to the back, and this thing will be all taken care of. Alright, and that is the entire thing done. The extra fuel tank on the back there was just that, extra. It didn't even have instructions for it. I just had to figure out how to get that one on there myself. But yeah, and one side of this is definitely nicer to look at than the other, which is a bit flat. But hey, I'm kind of torn on getting a turret for this thing now, because it's like, it's nice. No idea when I'll paint it. I'll just have to decide that later. And lastly, for a little bit of scale, I have my Tiger, and these are both 1/35th. And, yeah. It's a big one. Oh, I might do this again in the future, just until next time.